The Fall and Rise of Adrian Hale, an American story. Adrian Hale was born into wealth so vast that he mistook it for normal. His father, Richard Hale, had built a hotel empire that stretched from New York to Miami, the kind of glass and marble palaces where businessmen sealed million-dollar deals over martinis. His mother, Eleanor, floated across charity galas in gowns worth more than most families' yearly salaries. Adrian grew up with the best America could offer, the best schools, the fastest cars, the loudest parties, but he learned none of the country's harder lessons. He didn't know what it meant to chase a paycheck or fear a bill. For him, the American dream wasn't a dream at all. It was his birthright. The Fall. In his early 20s, Adrian lived like an emperor. His nights blurred across Manhattan rooftops, where fireworks and champagne lit the skyline. He tipped bartenders with hundreds, laughed off parking tickets, and boasted he'd never worn the same pair of sneakers twice. He was the perfect symbol of excess, a child of American wealth unshaken by consequence. But America is a land of cycles, boom and bust, rise and collapse. When the markets crashed, so did the Hale Empire. Hotels fell into foreclosure, lawsuits piled up. Richard Hale's death left behind not fortune, but debt. The crash hit Adrian like an eviction notice from reality. Within months, the penthouse was repossessed, the cars were gone, and the so-called friends vanished. At 23, Adrian stood on a cold Brooklyn sidewalk with 2 suitcases and nowhere to go. For the first time in his life, he was not the heir to a fortune. He was just another broke young man in America. The struggle. Adrian's fall from grace was not cinematic. It was humiliating. He burned through what little money he had left in weeks. He pawned his watches, skipped meals, and hid from old acquaintances. When he finally found work, it was not at a corner office, but at a corner diner. He scrubbed grease off plates, wiped tables sticky with syrup, and learned to say "yes, ma'am" to customers who looked through him like he was invisible. The Adrian Hale of old might have sneered at such work, but the new Adrian, hungry, tired, and desperate, found himself grateful. It was in that diner, under buzzing fluorescent lights, that Adrian finally met America. Not the America of private jets and Hamptons mansions, but the America of night shift nurses, truck drivers, single mothers, and immigrants hustling for their piece of the dream. One of them was Miguel, the 60-year-old dishwasher with broken English and an unbreakable spirit. "This country gives," Miguel told him one night, scrubbing pans. "But only if you give first. Work hard, stay humble. That's the real America." Adrian listened. For once in his life, he listened. The rise years passed. Adrian saved every dollar he could, living with the discipline of someone who had learned what it meant to have nothing. He studied finance books at night, not for wealth, but for survival. He watched how businesses ran, how workers bonded, how customers returned when they were treated with respect. By 30, he had scraped together enough to buy into a struggling coffee shop. But this time, Adrian wasn't chasing status. He was chasing stability, purpose, and community. He worked the counter himself, greeted customers by name, and made sure every employee earned a fair wage. The cafe became a neighborhood fixture. Students came to study, workers stopped by before their shifts, and regulars lingered because Adrian had created more than a shop. He had created belonging. His cafe was America in miniature. People from all walks of life gathered, equal over a cup of coffee. The legacy Adrian Hale never rebuilt his father's empire. He didn't need to. He built something stronger: character, respect, and roots. In the cafe's corner, he kept a framed photo of a sleek black Bentley, the one he had once ridden to prep school in. Customers often asked about it. "It reminds me," he'd say, "that in America, you can fall hard, but you can rise again if you're willing to work." And so Adrian Hale, once the spoiled son of a dynasty, became something his wealth had never made him: a man of integrity. His story was no longer about riches lost, but about an American rebirth.